Good morning, my dear students. In the last session, we studied about multinational corporations and their functioning. In the past 2 to 3 decades, more and more MNCs have been looking for locations around the world which would be cheap for their production. Foreign investment by MNCs in these countries has been rising. At the same time, foreign trade between countries has been rising rapidly. A large part of the foreign trade is also controlled by MNCs. For instance, the car manufacturing plant of Ford Motors in India not only produces cars for the Indian markets, it also exports cars to other developing countries and exports car components for its many factories around the world. Likewise, activities of most MNCs involve substantial trade in goods and also services. The result of greater foreign investment and greater foreign trade has been greater integration of production and markets across countries. Globalization is the process of a rapid integration or interconnection between countries. MNCs are playing a major role in the globalization process. More and more goods and services, investments and technology are moving between countries. Most regions of the world are in closer contact with each other than a few decades back. Besides the movement of goods, services, investments, and technology, there is one more way in which the countries can be connected. This is through the movement of people between countries. People usually move from one country to another in search of better income, better jobs, or better education. Factors that enabled globalization. A rapid movement in technology has been one major factor that has stimulated the globalization process. For instance, the past 50 years have seen several improvements in transportation and technology. This has made much faster delivery of goods across long distances possible at lower cost. Even more remarkable have been the developments in information and communication technology. In recent times, technology in the areas of telecommunications, computers, internet has been changing rapidly. This has been facilitated by satellite communication devices. As you would be aware, computers have now entered almost every field of activity. You might have also ventured into amazing world of internet where you can obtain and share information on almost anything you want to know. Liberalization. The Indian government after independence had put barriers to foreign trade and foreign investment. This was considered necessary to protect the producers within the country from foreign competition. Industries were just coming up in the 1950s and 60s, and competition from imports at that stage would not have allowed these industries to come up. Thus, India allowed imports of only essential items such as machinery, fertilizers, petroleum, etc. Note that all developed countries during the early stages of development have given protection to domestic producers through a variety of means. Starting around 1991, some far reaching changes in policy were made in India. The government decided that the time had come for Indian producers to compete with the producers around the globe. It felt that competition would improve the performance of producers within the country since they would have to improve their quality. This decision was supported by powerful international organizations. Thus, barriers on foreign trade and investment were removed to a large extent. Removing barriers or restrictions set by the government is what is known as liberalization. Liberalization of trade, businesses are allowed to make decisions freely about what they wish to import or export. The government imposes much less restrictions than before and is therefore said to be more liberal. This meant that goods could be imported and exported easily and also foreign companies could set up factories and offices here. Tax on import is an example of trade barrier. It is called a barrier because some restrictions has been set up. Government can use trade barriers to increase or decrease foreign trade and to decide what kinds of goods and how much of each should come into the country. Positive impacts of globalization. In the last 20 years, globalization of the Indian economy has come a long way. What has been its effect on the lives of people? Globalization and greater competition among producers, both local and foreign producers, has been of advantage to consumers. Whereas greater choice before these consumers who now enjoy improved quality and lower prices for several products. As a result, these people today enjoy much higher standards of living than was possible earlier. Among producers and workers, the impact of globalization has not been uniform. MNCs have increased after investments in India over the past 20 years, which means investing in India has been beneficial for them. MNCs have been interested in industries such as cell phone, automobiles, soft drinks, fast food, etc. In these industries and services, new jobs have been created. Also, local companies supplying raw materials to these industries have prospered. Several of the top Indian companies have been able to benefit from increased competition. They have invested in newer technology and production methods and raised their production standards. Some have gained from successful collaborations with foreign companies. Moreover, globalization has enabled some large Indian companies to emerge as multinational themselves. Tata Motors, Infosys, Ranbaxy, Asian Paints, etc. are examples. Globalization has also created new opportunities for companies providing services, particularly those involving IT. Negative impacts of globalization. Some manufacturers have been hit hard due to small manufacturers have been hit hard due to competition. Several of the units have shut down, rendering many workers jobless. Large MNCs with a worldwide network look for the cheapest goods in order to maximize their profits. To get these large orders, the industries try hard to cut their own cost. As cost of raw materials cannot be reduced, they try to cut labor cost. The hardships of the workers become common to many industrial units and services in India. Most workers today are employed in the unorganized sector. Struggle for fair globalization. The above evidences indicate that not everyone has benefited from globalization. People with education, skill, and wealth have made the best use of new opportunities. On the other hand, there are some people who have not shared the benefits. Since globalization is now a reality, the question is how to make globalization more fair. Fair globalization would create opportunities for all and also ensure that the benefits of globalization are shared better. The government can play a major role in making this possible. Its policies must protect the interest not only of rich and powerful but all the people in the country. They can ensure that labor laws are properly implemented and the workers get their rights. It can support small producers to improve their performance till the time they become strong enough to compete. If necessary, the government can use trade and investment barriers. It can negotiate at the WTO for fairer rules. It can also align with other developing countries with similar interests to fight against the domination of developed countries in the WTO. In the past few years, massive campaigns and representation by people's organizations have influenced important decisions relating to trade and investments at the WTO. This has demonstrated that people also can play an important role in the struggle for fair globalization. Thank you.